Yo, welcome back. Welcome back once again. Welcome back to the Four Wide Fantasy Football Podcast. We are on episode 5 of season 1, our 6th recording. And this has been awesome, guys. Your co-hosts,
Yes.
Matt, Shed, Olu, and Will. Guys, how y'all doing?
Doing great, guys.
I'm
So it's
good.
great.
I'm good. I'm ready.
We're
We
ready.
love this
Let's
podcast.
go.
We love that you're a part of our fantasy football family, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know. That's just kind of weird. But thanks so much for we'll call it the huddle, the Four Wide Fantasy Huddle.
Yes. Four wide
Yes.
huddle. All right.
Four Wide Huddle.
Let's do
Yes,
it.
that's right. Week 5 recap, Week 6 preview. We have a great episode for you this evening or today or whenever you're listening to it. I don't know. But we got to go with our injury roundup. Hate having to do it. We're going to talk about biggest takeaways from week 5. We're changing up a little bit for those of you who have listened to us consistently. We've typically started off with top performers and then we'll slow down. But we're doing it different today because we want to do some extra stuff on the end this time. So we're just going to talk about biggest takeaways from week 5. It's going to be a mashup of did you see what he did and whoa, slow down. Then we'll go to week 6 matchups to exploit and week 6 matchup to avoid. We're bringing back debate time. What we're going to do
Yes.
is, you know what? I'll tell you more what we're going to do when we get there. And then lastly, our favorite, single game mock. But why don't we start off with the injury roundup?
Okay, going through some new injuries from week 5. So guys who are looking to that they'll miss multiple weeks. We have Anthony Richardson. If you saw that play, he was tackled on a designed run, fell down on his right shoulder. Looks like he sprained the AC joint. So that's usually 4 to 6 weeks. He may end up on IR. And I actually am going to say here that the stock is up for all the Colts skill players because Minshew, here's why. Hold on, here's why. Minshew is not going to do anything by himself, right? So they're going to hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss. Minshew's not taking any running yards away from them. And he's going to throw the ball downfield. So for Pittman and Josh Downs, I actually think their numbers could increase. We forget Gardner Minshew has been a capable starter. He's played with guys putting up fantasy numbers around him, even in Jacksonville. That's number one.
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk about Minshew.
The starting quarterback goes down and the stock goes up for everybody.
No,
Yes.
it does. I agree. I
Yes.
absolutely agree.
Thank you, Olu.
Mhm.
All right now.
Because Richardson is a playmaker, so he could take the
Yeah.
ball and make plays by himself. But Minshew is a point guard. He distributes the ball. Richardson is a playmaker. So
Yeah, absolutely. Minshew's not going to run, so he's just going to stand in the pocket and deliver. That's all he can do.
Yep.
Well, that's Richardson, so hopefully it's a shorter injury and not the full, 6 weeks, which some predicted. Then we have Justin Jefferson. This is by far the biggest injury as far as fantasy goes. He's put on IR, so that's 4 weeks minimum with the hamstring. That looked terrible. The Vikings turf might be the worst in the league. A lot of complaints from players playing on that, so he's out 4 weeks. I think it's stock down for the entire Vikings offense, although you're going to have targets funneled to Jordan Addison and KJ Osborne. I just think that Addison benefited from Jefferson getting double teamed, the safety shading him, and that's not going to happen anymore. So I think they all take a step back. James Conner, he's also on IR with the knee. That's 4 weeks. So his direct replacement, it looks like, is going to continue to be Amari DeMarcado. Keontae Ingram is hurt. DeMarcado, this guy is he looked okay. He looked decent. He's small, undrafted rookie. He's 5'9", but if he's the only one, if Keontae Ingram's still hurt, then he's a spot starter. If you had James Conner and you don't have a replacement on your bench, you're gonna want him off the waivers, right? Put in your fab for him because it's gonna be 4 weeks without Conner. Other than that, Devon Achane with a knee. Right now, they're kind of calling it week to week. It looks like it'll be multiple weeks. This is time for Raheem Mostert to shine.
Must start.
Jeff Wilson might be coming back, and I think he's going to get some looks, but it should be Mostert getting the majority of that. He's a guy who we've seen put up 20, 25, 30 fantasy points even with Achane there. So that's firmly within range for Raheem the next few weeks. Last 2 injuries here. Daniel Jones with the neck injury. It looks like he's day to day, maybe week to week. So if you have him at quarterback, I'm sorry, your season is probably terrible already, but you might want to get Tyrod Taylor just in case, who might actually put up more fantasy points than Danny Dimes, honestly. It can't get much worse. And then lastly, we've got the Bears backfield. It looks like Khalil Herbert and Roshan Johnson might be out this week. So if you need a running back for a spot start, Dante Foreman's going to be the guy. So that is our week 5 injury roundup. Any thoughts on that, guys, and who's going to be
Yes.
affected?
Why was
Yeah.
that the longest one we've ever had?
We 3 major guys on IR. That's
Yeah.
brutal.
Go for it, guys. Jump in.
Yeah. So you know what's interesting about Jefferson getting hurt? I was thinking what Mike Evans is doing now. He has 1,000 yard consecutive seasons, and I was thinking, is that even possible to break? And I was thinking, obviously Jefferson
Oh,
might do it.
wow.
He's going to do it, but I don't think so anymore because of this injury. And I was like, wow, that's really hard to do. 9 consecutive 1,000 yards. I was so sure
Mhm.
Jefferson would be the one to do it too, but obviously he's not. So that's quite
How
interesting.
how
He
many
could
does
still get it.
Devontae Adams have now? Does he have 6 or 7 in a row of 1,000?
I don't know how many he has, but the thing with Devontae is Devontae started his 3 years of his career slow because he
Right,
was a
right. He wasn't a
he
full-time
wasn't who he is
starter
now.
either.
Well, Mike Evans started his rookie year 1,000 yards and 1,000 yards for the last 9 years,
Yeah,
and he's
Devontae
not slowing down.
Adams,
that's true.
the last 3 years, Devontae Adams has had over 1,300 yards. The year before that, he had 997.
Oh
Uh,
Like,
my gosh.
that's when you just missed out on getting an incentive bonus. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
actually,
that's
get this,
brutal.
get this. Devontae Adams had 997 yards in 2019 and 997 yards in 2016. You can't
Are
write. You
you
can't make this
kidding
up.
me?
Wow.
exactly.
That's awful. All right, I gotta quickly say this. Do y'all remember when Gronk was on the Bucks and they were up, right? I think they were up like end of the season, week
Yeah, I
15, week
remember this.
16, and they had that mic'd up thing on the sideline. He's like, "Hey, I need one more." What was it? One more touchdown,
Yeah,
right?
he said
Or
no.
like one more
Every,
reception,
every
something.
one more reception.
Yeah, for his incentive. So Brady said, "Put me back in," and he got him that
Yeah,
reception and
yep.
he got his bonus. That's
That was pretty
amazing.
awesome, though. Yeah, because Bezos
Yes.
was like, "Really? All right, put me back in," and then got him his money.
I
No,
love
no, no.
those
I got,
moments.
I got one. I got one better for you. Better than you.
Okay.
I think it was 2005. Sean Alexander
Oh,
missed. You know where this is going?
no, but we're
Sean
digging deep
Alexander
now.
missed getting the rushing title by 1 yard. Curtis Martin beat him by one stinking yard for the rushing title in 2005. Like,
Wow.
golly, man, the incentives he missed out on, But I want to
Yeah,
say something about I want to say something about the injury roundup. I hate the guy who always says "I told you so." Like, nobody likes the "I told you" guy.
But I
But
told you
gosh,
so.
Devin A. Chain, like, is this a surprise to
you called
anybody?
it. You called
No,
it.
No, and I'm not saying it because like I want to be like, I told you, but it's like, dude, the guy is 185 pounds playing running back in the NFL. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
and
And-
I watched the Giants and Dolphins game. He didn't even go down at any point. Like, it wasn't they barely even touched him. Like,
right.
I don't think the guy got tackled the whole game. And he still got injured. Like, it's
Yeah.
anyway.
And another thing with that kind of system, the 49ers system and the Dolphins system, the running backs are injury away.
It's
It's not a
true.
sustainable system. So now I'm keeping my fingers crossed for McCaffrey because it's not sustainable with the way they run so hard.
Right.
So
Shed,
I'll
jump
just I'll just go ahead and add. We talked about Daniel Jones being out and who can pick up. Don't pick up Tyrod Taylor. Pick up in ESPN league. Sam Howell is
Oh,
available. Is only rostering
oh,
18% of the league, and then Bryce Young is only rostering 9% of the leagues. So those will probably be better options on better teams. Bryce Young has proven that when he's there, I mean, he has Adam Thielen that's producing for him right now. So and Sam Howell has been surprisingly a decent fantasy quarterback.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. Both of those would be better than Tyrod. Any
You know,
quarterback on the Giants right now,
I forgot to
that's
mention
a last ditch play for sure.
in the intro, week 5 is the start of bye weeks. So when I was about to just
Right.
give Shed a rebuttal, like, who the heck needs a replacement for Daniel Jones? Like, who needs a replacement for the backup quarterback? We're looking at bye weeks. There are starters. There are starters who, like, this past week, I didn't have Justin Herbert playing in one of my leagues. I was like, oh shoot, what am I gonna do? Like, it's bye week
Yeah.
time, man. You
Right.
got to
You
get
need
these guys on the
somebody.
roster.
Yep.
But
Yep.
let's keep it moving, guys. Let's go forward. Okay, let's go to the next segment. Biggest takeaways from week 5. This could either be something along the lines of someone who outperformed their projection, like a did you see what he did, or it could be a whoa, slow down, someone who, listen, don't think too much about this. But biggest takeaways from week 5. Shed, why don't you start us off, man?
So let me go ahead and start off by saying this. I told you. I told you last week. I told you we saw it coming.
What did I say about this guy? No one likes that guy.
I told you. That was about Dak Prescott against his
Oh
49ers
my god.
defense. I told you the 49ers
Terrible.
would stop the run and force Dak to beat them. And when the Cowboys, when they're one dimensional and Dak is forced to lead them, they are disastrous. More likely
True.
than not, bad things will happen. Dak went for 14 for 24, 153 yards, one touchdown, three interceptions, and with a quarterback rating of 51.6. And what was so like demoralizing about those
Gosh.
interceptions is that they were back to back to back, consecutive drives, consecutive
Yeah.
interception. And the thing about it is that it wasn't like Dak was slinging the ball like 35, 40, 45 times. He threw the ball 24 times. So it wasn't like he was out there just throwing around. It just shows how inefficient he was with the little bit amount of passing attempts he had. Now this brings his turnover total to 39 turnovers in 35 games.
Mm.
So, so as I hold on, as I close out here, the 49ers got what they wanted, how they wanted it, when they wanted it, with sugar on top, beat down, stole their lunch money, took their puppy, and sent them home. That's how bad it was.
Puppy.
More like Dak Prescott, more like Smack Prescott. Well,
Oh,
were you going to say
so
something?
yeah, all right. I live in Texas now, right? Coming up on 3 years here. I'm surrounded by Cowboys fans. And I just wonder what do Cowboys fans think after all these games because they're so sick of this, right? Every time it's a primetime game, every time it's a halfway decent defense, this is what Dak does over and over again. He crumbles. He can't improvise. If his first one or two reads is not there, he panics. If there's no running game, as you said, Shed, then he can't win you the game. My question though is who is a better option? I really because they're not gonna have a prime draft pick,
Yeah,
right?
you're right.
They're never gonna have they're gonna be picking at 20 or later in the first round. That's a lot they'd have to give up to move up to like a top 5 pick. They're not gonna do that. And it's not like there are free agents that become available because the only free agent quarterback I know of that would even be comparable would be Kirk Cousins next year. That's not really much of an improvement. He has the same problems, right, in these tough primetime matchups. So I think they're stuck. He's got this contract for what, 3, 4 more
That's
years.
why they're stuck. It's the
That's a
contract.
good
They're
point.
stuck. I don't know what else they do. They're suffering, but I don't see a way out.
I mean, sometimes you get a guy who drops in the draft. Like, I know that doesn't happen too often now, but teams
Very
are rolling
rarely.
up. Older, what do you think, man?
I would take Kirk Cousins over Dak. I absolutely would. Because
Mm.
the Cowboys, they draft really well. They're really good at scouting and they draft well, and they have a Brandon Cooks. And I think if you put Kirk Cousins in that offense, he'll do better than what Dak is doing. He's more accurate than Dak. He has a slightly better arm than Dak. He has better decision making than Dak. So I feel like if
Mm.
you put him in that offense, and they have a lot of weapons all around there, like and Kirk Cousins is not afraid to throw the ball where it needs to be. So I feel like Kirk Cousins could get much more from CeeDee Lamb than Dak is actually getting from CeeDee Lamb, and they still have Brandon Cooks. So I just feel like Kirk Cousins might be better, and I think Jerry Jones will get to a place where, because it's guaranteed, that's guaranteed money is almost up. So he will get to a place where he uses
Oh,
it
wow.
as a negotiating tactic by bringing him
I
in.
Ooh.
love how you mentioned first they got Brandon Cooks. They got Brandon Cooks, and I'm like,
That's the game changer.
Yeah, he is. Like, he could take the top of any time, but he's
bro.
not being used in that way, which is sad.
I mean, CeeDee Lamb's I'd take CeeDee Lamb over Brandon Cooks any day, but
Well,
maybe it's
and part of it too, they're not being used because they're not letting Dak throw the ball, right? McCarthy is
They don't
very
trust
But
him.
why are we not letting him
methodical.
throw the ball?
Mm.
yeah. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Not Shed. Olu,
Okay. So
biggest.
for me, did you see that? Might have been the Lions. The Lions, Detroit Lions.
Woo!
I've gotten to a place. I think the Lions are a team where, you know how you have a all right, you guys ready for this analogy? You have a friend who's, you're single. You say you're single, you're in college, and you have this group of friends, and you're always there with this girl and you're always in the same friend group. You see each other, you say, "Hey, hi, friend, high fives," whatever, and then you sit in and you're hanging out, and then one day you just keep looking at her, and it hits you. Oh man, she's beautiful. That's in my life. That's what the Lions are.
And that is the Detroit Lions. Oh, the
And you
beautiful
keep
girl.
watching them
Uh,
every week, and you say, "Okay, that's a good game. That's a good game," and then you keep watching,
And you're
and
like,
you
dang,
say,
Detroit. I didn't know you
"Yo,
got it like that, Detroit.
right, Detroit, you looking fly, Detroit, you
Come
looking
on,
right.
Detroit.
whoa,
Three,
they're
Detroit.
legit." And they play complementary football in its highest
Detroit
definition.
looking right.
Bro, they're looking right. Okay, the first week they beat the Chiefs. You're like, all right, they got them slipping, whatever, and they keep going, and you're looking like, all right, they're not putting up crazy numbers.
Right,
Goff is not
right.
putting up crazy
Yeah.
numbers. Amari St. Brown is not going crazy, but they're always playing complementary football. You don't know who's going to go off. If it's the run game with David Montgomery, you don't know what receiver will be catching touchdowns. You don't know when the rookie tight end, Sam
Mm,
Laporta, will be
mm.
catching touchdowns. You don't know who's going to do what. You don't know the defense. Aiden Hutchinson is a baller. Oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah.
they got to,
Dude,
like, how do you get a steal in the second round pick? I mean, sorry, in the second overall pick. It was
dude.
second overall, right? Was it second or third?
Yeah, he was because it was
Trayvon
Walker,
Walker.
Trayvon Walker to the Jags, number 1,
Right.
and then
They
Hutchinson.
got a steal in the second pick. So for me, Lions are legit, bro. Like they're here. They're here. They've announced themselves, and I
I
think
saw
it's
this.
Mm.
time they should start taking them serious.
I saw this stat that Aiden Hutchinson has more interceptions. He has I think he has 4 or 5. He has more interceptions than the other top 5 picks from his draft class combined. And
Wow.
he's a
Gosh.
D lineman. Like
And
Yeah,
yep,
that's crazy.
he's a no, Detroit's serious, bro. Dan
they are.
Campbell.
They are.
Dan Campbell is a good coach. And he
He is
played
a good
tight end
coach
for the New York Football Giants. But
for
no,
sure.
they are serious, man. They're gonna win the North.
Oh,
That,
easily. They're running
They're gonna
away
win the
with
North.
that division.
we're talking about the conference now. We moved them from the division.
They're no longer the joke of the NFC. Like
Not at all. Not at
they're
all.
not. Jed, what do you got to say about them, bro?
So the question is, yes, they're going to win in the North. I think part of that is by default. Part of it is that they're really good as well too. But I just think about Jared Goff when it comes to the biggest of big moments. I think we have to taper our expectation of how far Detroit can go. Like I don't know if they're Super Bowl bound, divisional, sure, maybe NFC, right? But I feel like when push comes to shove with Jared Goff, I just feel like he has that gene that will just kind of mess it up at some point. Now he could be past that point, right? And he
Thank
could have
you.
graduated, but yeah, I just feel like okay, they're good, but I wouldn't put them in a Eagles or 49ers class yet.
Yeah.
They're
I
that
think
next tier down.
Now,
I think Jared Goff is a professional quarterback. Like when you think of a pro quarterback, it's him. Like he comes in, does his job, gets it done, money on the line. He puts the ball where he needs to be. Of course, once in a while you might have some INT here and there, but he's never frazzled. He's always, he's just a professional quarterback. So he's not Dak. So
let's not forget let's not forget Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl
He
Yeah.
did.
and lost by single digits.
Well, he
Okay.
lost 10-3. It's not like it was 30-28, okay? It was
Hey,
10 to
listen, I
3.
had it going. I had them
But
going.
Give some
mistake.
context to this
Guys,
single digits loss.
But he made
Yeah.
it.
He made it.
he
He
made
made
it, but part of the loss was because he couldn't get it done.
no,
Right?
that's not
10 to
fair,
3. When he scored 3 points as a
bro.
quarterback, some of that falls on your shoulders.
Bro, it took the greatest
Oh my gosh.
player ever and the greatest coach
Coach?
ever to beat him. So that's a tall task for anyone. So I wouldn't really put that on him that much.
Just
But
for all of our Spotify listeners, Olu did not use quotations when he said greatest coach ever.
yeah,
'cause
absolutely.
He truly believes that Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time.
Sure. So
Oh, yes.
and then, mind you, Mahomes have never beaten Jared Goff before. He's always got the best of Mahomes and the biggest stage. So when I think about that, yes,
Well, how many times have they played each other? 3?
twice.
Not
Twice.
important.
Okay, come on.
Not important.
No.
Twice.
And those were primetime games. Those are primetime games as well.
I
That's
remember one was like
fine.
55 to 52. But let's keep it moving. Will,
All right.
what
All
was your
right.
biggest takeaway
Yeah.
week 5?
Here's my biggest takeaway, and this is not a crazy take, but it is. I guess it's crazy to me how clear it seems like it's becoming. Brock Purdy is the perfect quarterback for the 49ers system. So I was watching the game and listening to the commentators on Sunday night, and I'm going to say this. I don't want this to sound rude or demeaning, but Brock Purdy is a pretty simple guy. Okay.
Mhm.
He's on his rookie contract, obviously, so he's not getting paid tens of millions yet. He still has a roommate. Okay. He shares an apartment.
Mr.
Mhm.
Irrelevant.
He is not, he has limited personality. Okay. They talked about, how, listen, this is what the commentators, this is kind of the imagery they
Limited
use. So Mike
personality.
Tirico and Chris Collinsworth, you know how before the Sunday night games, they get to sit down with the coaches, they sit down with some key players and they do interviews. This is what they said in the broadcast. When you talk with Brock Purdy, he doesn't really look you in the eye. It's like he's looking past you. Okay. You know how you talk to some people, they don't look at you, they look through you.
What does
And
this
it
have to
looks,
do with
listen,
football?
no, trust me, this is all going to come back around. And,
Yeah,
but
let's get him
you
out.
talk to him, and it looks like the dude's zoned out. He's not there, but he will answer you thoroughly. Like he listened to everything you said. And so what happens with Kyle Shanahan coaching him is that he takes the coaching and then he simply goes on the field and he does it. He does it. He knows where the ball has to be. He had this one throw to Deebo Samuel. He threw this through like 3 layers of linemen and linebackers. Deebo was not in the spot. Okay. He threw it to a spot in the middle of the field. There's no one there. Deebo has this in route cutting across and hits him perfectly in stride. It was the perfect spot, perfect timing. That's what he does. And you know what? That is what Kyle Shanahan wants. I actually believe Kyle Shanahan does not want a Trey Lance type of guy who's going to improvise, who's going to tuck and run. He wants a guy like Brock Purdy who's not complicated. He's very simple and he just runs the play. He runs the play, throws it to the right spot. He knows his reads, and that's it. That's all he cares about. Very simple life outside of football. He's the perfect quarterback for this system. I do believe if he had not had that elbow injury in the NFC Championship game last year, they would have beat the Eagles. They would have beat the
What?
Eagles. Oh, 100%.
You
And
No,
think
no,
they would
I
have beat the
think so
Eagles?
too.
yes, they would
Yeah,
have beat the Eagles, and we would have had a Niners-Chiefs rematch in the Super Bowl. 49 I'm putting this on record right now after week 5. The 49ers will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I have no doubts about that. He's the guy for this system.
except for, barring all injuries.
Barring injuries, if their big 3 stay healthy, Kittle and Debo and McCaffrey. Those are the
Yeah,
big 3 they need.
I agree with you, Will. I was not a believer of Brock Purdy at first,
I
but
was
he's the
not.
kind of guy he's a playmaker, and he comes in, does his job. He's not too high, not too low, and he follows the scheme to the T. He
Right.
puts the ball where it needs to be. And then
That's
if you
it.
have someone like Cunningham calling the plays for you, that schemes anybody open, and he puts the ball exactly where it needs to be. That's a very dangerous recipe, I think.
Yeah,
Like he
he's
doesn't need
good.
someone running around. He needs someone to execute exactly what he said. And it's not like Matt Ryan is like, frazzled. He's even killed. He's not. He's almost like a. I can absolutely see what you're saying, and I feel
He's
like
not emotional. He has like no emotions.
he's not, and he has a good enough arm to get the ball when it needs to be. So, and
Yeah.
I agree with you. That's a dangerous recipe for sure.
It's funny, like I was hearing commentators talk about, or I don't know if it's commentators, somebody they were talking about what's really the difference between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, and I think they were talking
A
about
lot.
talent, but man, the kid's executing. He's running an offense, but I'm gonna go to my biggest takeaway from Week 5, and that is welcome back, Jamar Chase. I think
Unbelievable.
weren't we just talking about the Bengals offense and Jamar Chase like last week or 2 weeks ago, and talk about how
Yeah.
disappointing. I think it was in the draft bus. I think I was talking about him. It might have been me in the
Yeah.
draft bus segment last week. And I was saying,
Right.
if you drafted Jamar Chase, don't sell him, but you're probably not doing too hot. Like, golly, guys. First, the guy got 19 targets, 41% target share. Okay. He got 15 balls for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, I think
Yeah.
some of us who have been holding on to Jamar Chase have been saying, well, he finally produced. Let's take a break. The man had 192 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That might be the greatest receiver performance in the last like 5 years. I think Tyreek Hill had a game similar to that like 3 years ago against Tampa Bay. But like, 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's insane. I I don't think Joe Burrow should have played the beginning of the year. I think he still should have rested because he clearly wasn't ready to come back. And
Right.
so, I mean, hey, maybe it's welcome back Jamar Chase. Maybe it's welcome back Cincinnati. I mean, shoot, them boys are going to be good. They're going to be good.
Is
Let's
is
let's
Higgins
not
back
snooze
or
on the fact that the
Higgins?
man
Are you
got 15
saying?
catches for 192 yards and 3 stinking touchdowns. That's what I got to say. That's my biggest takeaway. Shed, go for it, man. What do you got to say about that?
So definitely welcome back, Jamar Chase. I would have been hesitant to say welcome back Cincinnati because they've lost the first 2 opening games to division opponents. They were 0-2. But the AFC North is just turning out to be up for grabs. Like
Yes,
It
yeah,
is.
totally.
The Ravens losing to the Steelers, which they should
That
have
wasn't
had that
supposed to
game.
happen. Wasn't supposed to happen.
That's credit to Tomlin. The man finds a way to win even with bad teams. Like but the Ravens should have won that game. But now that they lost, I think everybody either 2 or 3 or 3-2. I mean, it's wide open in that division. So they have a chance depending on if Burrow's back or not. But we'll have to see how his injury does.
All I know is, regardless, Jamar Chase, I think he might be balling out, especially if T. Higgins is forced to miss more time. And I hate
Right.
saying it like that, but T. Higgins was out. Jamar Chase stock went through the roof, man. It was
Yeah.
like, golly. What was
Higgins
that?
and Boyd were both out. So that's important to note.
Ooh, so the game script. Let's look ahead, guys. Let's talk about matchups to exploit and matchups to avoid. Listeners, we want to help you out here. We want to provide some advice for you. Guys, who do you think will go off in week 6? Shed, why don't you start us out?
Okay, so my matchup to exploit is going to be Matthew Stafford versus Arizona. The Rams played Arizona this week, but they've played a similar defense like this about 2 weeks ago. They played Indianapolis Colts. The Cardinals and the Colts have very similar pass defenses. Both of them are bottom 5 in total defense, and Arizona has actually given up more touchdown than the Colts have. So in week 4, the Rams playing Indy. It's a very similar defense, and they're playing a very similar defense this week. Stafford had 40 times he threw the ball for 319 yards. I can see him with similar stats or better stats this week than he had with Indy. And the Cardinals they're gritty. They got fight in them, right? They're gonna not just roll over, but if you consider Cooper Kupp, Puka Nakua, given where Cooper Kupp is back, I see Stafford being a mid to upper QB1 this week, and he should also yield the most fantasy points so far this year.
Ooh.
That's
So
a solid pick.
Wait. Where did he go to college? Someone help me out here.
Who, Puka?
Every time. Here we go. The University of Georgia. Yes.
Oh, go ahead. No, I'm with it, man. Matthew Stafford. Let's not snooze on him any longer. Let's not snooze on him. Buy low. Olu, who do you have,
Okay.
man? Matchup to exploit.
So, matchup to exploit. I have Jacoby Myers versus the New England Patriots. So when I think of Jacoby Myers in this situation, right? You guys remember that episode from the Fresh Prince where Lou, Fresh Prince brother came and Lou said, "Listen, I got something to do. Okay, I'll catch you on the other side." And then Will Smith, Fresh Prince, went over to Uncle Phil and hugged him and said, "Why does it want me no more, man?" Remember that episode? So
Yes,
I
I
feel like
do.
Jacoby Myers, Fresh Prince, Uncle Phil is Josh McDaniels,
Oh
and
my God.
Bill Belichick, and Jacob Myers say, "How come you don't want me no more, man?" And now he finally gets the chance to show Lou what he can do, and I think he's gonna go off. Not only is he gonna go off because of the emotional aspect, but also New England's reeling. They're reeling. So now we have Jacoby Myers who's gonna come and put the nail in the coffin. Jacoby Myers was their best receiver in the last 3 years. The last 3 years, he's an undrafted rookie. So for the last past 3 years, he wasn't paid much. He was paid pennies. And now it was time for him to get paid. Bill Belichick does what he does to really good players and told them, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't want you. You can go out the window." But instead, he paid
Out the window.
Juju Smith Schuster. What?
No.
Keep going. I just love it.
Go ahead.
Out the window.
Okay. Anyway, so instead, he played Juju Smith Schuster. He paid him the same amount of money
Yeah,
that
exact same
Jacoby
contract.
got with the Raiders.
It's a cold world.
Meanwhile, Juju Smith-Schuster has a busted knee, and he's not been the same player.
Yeah.
The same player since his rookie season with the Steelers. Even the Chiefs had him. They don't have a number one receiver, but they're willing to let Juju walk out the door because they know of his previous injury. But Belichick said, "Oh yeah, I'm the smartest guy in the room. I'm going to let my best player go," and instead upped to pay a guy with a busted knee. So I feel like coming back home, Jacoby Myers has been playing phenomenally this year. He's been averaging. Sorry, he's been getting at least 8 targets per game, and each target he's been completing is about 80% of his catches, about 70 to 80% of his catches. So he'll be very motivated. And what Belichick's game plan usually is, I'm going to take away your best player. We all know who the best player is, Devontae Adams, and they're going to stop the run. So that leaves the middle of the field open for Jacoby Myers to exploit.
Mm.
So he's probably one person that we should all look into as matchup to exploit. Now I'm done.
quickly, so we talked about Juju Smith-Schuster, right? So a quick history for the listeners. When Will came into the league in our dynasty league, I needed me a wide receiver. Will had Juju. We traded Juju for like the second pick. And anyway, long story, Will turned that pick into Justin Jefferson. So I had Juju. He turned it into Justin Jefferson, and my life hasn't been the same ever since.
And I
And Will stole
traded
Justin
Justin
Jefferson.
Jefferson for 2 firsts after his rookie year, and my life has never been the same since. That was terrible. My week 6 matchup to exploit is Isaiah Pacheco against the Denver Broncos on Thursday night. The Broncos have the worst rushing defense in the NFL, and Mahomes still cannot trust his receivers, right? So I think you're going to see volume going to Travis Kelce, and you're going to see the ball getting handed off to Isaiah Pacheco. And this man is bound to break off some 10, 12, 15-yard runs, even against decent run defenses. Against the Broncos, he could easily surpass 100 yards, get a touchdown in there. He's going to be a solid fantasy play. So if you have him on your roster, start him confidently this week.
Gosh, it pains me to like co-sign that one, but it's so true. Like
He's killing it. He's been good this year.
He definitely has. And you guys realize that the Denver defense is on a historical worst ever pace. Right.
They're god awful, man.
I mean, that's a bad era.
Gosh. Yes, they're terrible. Oh, man. Yeah, Sean
Wow.
Payton saying, whatever they did last year, we're going to do the opposite. Well, that got you to 1-4. And then they lost to the Jets, right? They lost to Nathaniel Hackett as the offensive coordinator of the Jets. That was the worst thing that could have happened after a
I
disastrous
don't know,
start.
man. Honestly, the worst thing that can happen is them giving up 70 points.
Yeah, you're right. It's just every week.
What is
Every week
worse?
is just terrible.
That's
Every
worse.
week it gets worse.
If you're a Broncos fan, I just feel so bad. It's like it's an adventure.
Yeah.
My matchup to exploit, I'm gonna have to do it, and I'm gonna say Jordan Addison. And I'll be honest with you guys, coming into the season, I have such an I've never met you, Jordan, but I have such an interesting relationship with you. The guy wins a Bolitnikov Award, then he goes to USC, has a great year. He goes to the combine. You see his size, and you're like, my God, the man is tiny. He's like 185 pounds, 80 pounds, 180 pounds. He's small.
Right.
So you're like, I'm down on this guy. Then he gets drafted by Minnesota, and you're like, okay, I like this. And he starts to produce, and you're like, okay, Jordan, I see you now. And then Justin Jefferson goes down. And once Justin Jefferson goes down, Jordan Addison gets the most targets he's ever gotten in a game. And I think the game script, Minnesota still cannot run the ball. I don't care how many mediocre running backs they have. They still can't run the stinking ball. Kirk Cousins will throw it. I think Hawkinson's probably going to get the most stock boost from Justin Jefferson going down. But look, I think Jordan Addison is going to be a legitimate play. I don't think he's a guy you want to put on your bench. I think you want to put him in your starting lineup right now because the man is going to get targets. I think I would play Jordan Addison over KJ Osborne.
Yes, for sure.
Draft capital is there. His talent is there. He's only 5 years into his career, and the man has
5 games.
5 games. Sorry, what did I say?
Years.
Okay.
5 games into his career.
5 games. Get this. Yeah. He's had 3 touchdowns. The man has had 3 touchdowns and 19 catches. Not that impressive. But I think Jordan Addison, I think his stock's going to go up big time. They're playing Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago's giving up 200. What is it? Chicago's giving up 286 yards a game. And Minnesota can throw the ball. I think this is going to be a good week for Jordan Addison. That's my play. Matchup to exploit Jordan Addison.
Smart.
Go for it, Jed. What you want to say?
So I love how we're talking about my Minnesota Vikings. This is like the second or third consecutive weeks we talk about the Vikings. So Vikings getting some love here. Typically not, but they're getting some love. I'm a fan of Jordan Addison. Seen him in college, right? So he went from Pitt playing with Pickett to USC playing with Caleb Williams, and he produced in both spots. So the guy can move around, and he can produce with different quarterbacks. That's what I was sold on. So this week is going to be telling to see how can he produce. And Kirk Cousins is having a good year, so I see good things for Addison.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot of throwing. I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. It could be maybe it's a high-scoring game. I mean, Chicago just put up 40 this last week?
They did.
I mean, could be an interesting game, but let's go matchups to avoid. Let's warn our listeners who not to start, or to at least be who don't start this man. Okay, Shed, go first, bro.
So I'm going out on a limb here. A matchup that is not too obvious. I'm going to say avoid Derrick Henry versus Buffalo D. I know,
Baltimore.
I know, but the Ravens D, yes, they are second. So second in the league in sacks, right? Which should create more second and long and third and long for the Titans offense, which should limit Henry's attempts and touches. Especially when you're talking about third and long, they're going to put in Tajay Spears probably in there. That should limit his touches. Yes, Henry is 11th in rushing this year, but he's had only 2 touchdowns, guys. Only 2. And the Ravens are ranked number 2 in overall defense and 8th against the run. And this defense has yet to give up a touchdown this year so far. So this bodes well for Ravens versus Henry because I can see Henry struggling to get into the end zone. Side note, I mentioned Tajay Spears, who's slowly becoming
getting a lot.
Yes.
Getting a lot.
getting an integral part of this offense, seeing 50% of snaps or more. So
Yep.
if you combine Tajay Spears' uptick in snaps
Yep.
with the Ravens' top defense, this may not be a good week for Derrick Henry.
Yo, what is the world coming to when we say
I
Derrick Henry
know.
is a matchup to avoid? The guy
Wow.
was matchup proof for like 5 years. The man was the best running back in the league for years. And now we're at a point to where he's in a timeshare.
Yes.
So part of it, quick thing from me as a Titans fan who watches almost every game. Derrick Henry has really thrived in this zone blocking scheme that Arthur Smith first developed in Tennessee and the other offensive coordinators have followed. The Titans offensive line is terrible. And so
Ugh.
Henry's not seeing those running lanes, and what Tajay Spears brings is more explosiveness, speed. He's able to get outside, and he also is more involved in the passing game than Henry. So I think you're right, Shed. We're going to continue to see that split become more of a 50-50 split. It's been kind of 80-20 in favor of Henry, but it's slowly tipping to half and half. And so, yeah, this is not going to be the year that Derrick Henry wins you your league, unfortunately.
Ugh. So,
Mm.
Shed, you're telling our listeners to take him out of their lineup. Don't even start the man? Is that what you're saying?
I mean,
That's what he's saying.
Derrick Henry, right? So I'm saying that he won't give you the type of production that you're used to getting from Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry will give you between 10 and 12, 13 points maybe. I mean, some of his previous games, he's gotten stopped. He's giving you single digits. So don't be surprised if they get behind, the Titans get behind, you'll see more of Tajay Spears because they're going to be passing the ball and less Derrick Henry.
It's funny you say that. I just can't get the vision of 2019 division round playoffs. What Derrick Henry did to the Ravens.
I know. That's why I was hesitant.
Okay,
Right.
okay. So here's the thing. I want to hear what you guys say about this. Guys, and I know we just got to pause. It's just so weird to think of Derrick Henry like this. Who would you rather start? Derrick Henry versus Baltimore or Joe Mixon versus Seattle?
Joe Mix is
Joe Mixon.
I would start Mixon over Henry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jerome Ford versus San Francisco?
No, Derrick Henry. All right, don't be ridiculous.
Okay. What about Oh wait, no, these are all very easy matchups. Miles Sanders versus Miami.
No, Derrick Henry. Miles Sanders just
Derrick
got
Henry?
like 3 points.
Yeah.
How about Brian Robinson versus Atlanta?
No,
Brian
Atlanta's
Robinson.
run defense is good. Atlanta has a good defense. Start Henry over B-Rob.
What about James Cook versus the Giants?
James Cook.
James Cook, for sure.
James Cook.
Over Derrick Henry.
Yeah. He brings more in the passing game too.
Yes.
All right, let's move on. We got to move on. Oh gosh, it's so weird to think that. But Olu, who's your matchup to avoid?
Okay, matchup to avoid. Absolutely take these people off your roster. Completely. Do not put them in. Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong. Just take them out. They're going against the 49ers rush defense. 49ers rush defense, they gave up only 3.7 yards per attempt. In 5 games, they've only given up 321 yards. And only given up 2 touchdowns in 5 games. So that just take them off. They're not Nick Chubb to begin with, so they would not get any burn that game. They won't have a lot of rushing yards. They will have 0 touchdown. That we can for sure say. So I would say that's complete matchup to avoid. The Browns running game.
Yeah, I think that's one of those games where you got to look at game script, where the 49ers more than likely will get out in front.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Probably won't be back and forth.
Yes, and the
Browns
Browns will throw the ball.
Right, the Browns will probably pass more than they run.
Into the run. Yep.
And Jerome Ford can catch the ball, but when the Browns are behind, I don't think their team is built to come back and do it
They're
well.
not.
No.
They're not.
Not at all.
I mean, the biggest saving. The game plan they should have against the 49ers should not be running the ball. the best saving grace is Deshaun. That's the only way they
Yep.
can win the
Yep.
game. But they would not be winning that game by running the ball for sure.
Yep. Don't get cute and start Jerome Ford. Will, who's your matchup to avoid?
Okay, as much as I love this guy and as much as he's in the running for Rookie of the Year or Offensive Rookie of the Year, do not start CJ Stroud this week against the elite New Orleans Saints defense. The Saints defense through 5 games already has 7 interceptions and 11 sacks through 5 weeks of play. They've shut teams down, especially rookie or young quarterbacks have struggled against them. If you have another quarterback option, because CJ Stroud is definitely not the first quarterback you drafted. We did not see this coming during draft time. You don't want him in your lineup this week against the Saints. It might get ugly for him.
Ugh. People are loving the CJ Stroud train. Do you guys have anything you want to say about it? Although I know you love CJ, but go ahead, Shed.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm impressed about with New Orleans is just year in, year out. That defense is just good.
It is.
Year in, Sean Payton knows Sean Payton, right? Year in and year out. I mean, they gave Brady and the Bucks fits. They give Mike Evans fits, right? Like, I mean, they just are just good. I mean, that was almost my pick, Will, for matchup to avoid. But yeah, so I'm gonna co-sign. Like, I can see a 2 interception game coming for CJ Stroud if he
Yeah.
He
overcomes.
hasn't thrown one.
right,
He hasn't
exactly.
thrown one.
He hasn't thrown one yet.
Okay, that's bold, man.
Wow. I was slow down with that, bro. CJ is special. So yes, the Saints defense is amazing. They're borderline elite, but they're really good. I'm not gonna the cornerbacks are young and aggressive, and they have a veteran in Matthew in the back, and the front line, they are who they are. So yes, they are, but I cannot. It's just CJ is awesome, man. So I can see
Yeah.
him really. I've seen CJ Strauss versus the Georgia defense when they had the
Did well.
great defense. I
That's
saw
Did
him
true.
with
well.
the guys. So that's why I'm like, I mean, okay, let's see. It'll be fun.
We'll see. It'll be a good one. My matchup to avoid, pains me to say it. Do not play Saquon Razul Cuevas Barkley. Do not put him in your
Oh,
lineup. Saquon Razul Cuevas Barkley. Let me tell you something. He's coming back from injury. He might not even play, but if he does, I know you drafted him in probably the 2nd or 3rd round of your draft.
Yeah.
Do not put him in your lineup by any means necessary. Don't do it. Pick up somebody else, anybody, but do not play Saquon Barkley. Whenever he comes back from injury, he plays terrible towards this, which happens a lot, whether it be his ankle or his knee. Whenever the Giants play on primetime, they play terrible. Daniel Jones has played, I think, 11 games on primetime. He's won 1. And it stinks as a Giants fan because they get blown out. They get beat badly. And I love Saquon Barkley, but if he plays, he is going to disappoint. Okay, Aaron Jones came back this past week. No. He didn't come back in a primetime game. And many people did not put someone else in their roster and were hoping that Aaron Jones would play in the primetime game. And then you find out on Monday afternoon, Aaron Jones isn't playing. How do I know this frustration? I was there, and I needed Aaron Jones, and I didn't play somebody else. And now here I am playing P. Taylor. Can't even remember his first name because was it Patrick Taylor? Because I needed somebody to play. So
we call him practice squad Taylor.
And this is what I want to share with our listeners. That's the challenge with playing somebody who's questionable in a primetime game is there's other guys you could have started at 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock and you chose not to play them. And then here comes the final injury report and you find out Saquon's not playing. And now you're like, now what the heck do I do? Is Breida still available? Like, listen, don't play him. Don't hope to play him. If he plays, it's going to be bad. New York Football Giants, again, they are terrible right now. They are terrible. So I would say do not play Saquon Barkley.
Has Saquon been cleared, actually?
He's been practicing. So just don't play him. Don't play the Giants run game. Don't play the Giants pass game. Don't play the Giants defense. Don't even
Yeah.
watch them.
Oh, Cole Beasley is being cleared, actually.
Cole Beasley.
Cole
Oh,
For
Beasley.
who?
he's gonna
For who?
carry them to the
Cole.
promised land.
Stop.
What team
Cole
is he
Beasley.
on? No, seriously.
Who?
What team is Cole Beasley on?
Who does he play for?
The Giants.
He is
not
not on
on
the
the Giants.
Giants.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. There's no way. They have like
He didn't
8
even make the
receivers.
53 He didn't even make the 53-man roster.
He's on the Giants.
He's
Okay,
not.
I'm not-
I'm sure he got
Yes.
cut.
The Giants designate Cole Beasley to return back from practice squad IR.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
he's on practice squad.
Well,
So
the
he
prac-
didn't. Okay,
But
he
still
didn't
the
make the
Giants.
53.
Matt, save us from this, Matt. We need another segment quick. We're talking about Cole Beasley.
From the
Maybe
practice
he
squad.
can play running back for the Giants.
From
That'd
the
be
practice
interesting.
Listen.
All right, here we go. Debate time. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Listeners, this ought to be fun. We are going to talk about who do you think is the best wide receiver duo going forward in the league? We've seen football for 5 weeks. We've seen production. We've seen
Let's
some
go.
people come back from IR already. Maybe a little
Let's
spoiler.
go.
Who do you think is going to be the best duo going forward? And just so you know, guys, this is not scripted. So let's be kind. Let's try not to cut each other off. Don't take any personal shots. Shed, why don't you start off this argument on who you think is the best receiver?
Wait, we're
Actually,
talking
wait,
about
hold on.
going-
Do we want to start off with Shed, or does someone feel so bold that they want to go first?
Wait, are we talking about going forward?
Going
Going
forward.
forward.
Going
for
forward.
the rest of the season.
Yeah. Hold on. I feel so strongly about this. Can I take the first shot here?
Go ahead, Will.
It's Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. They are going to be the best wide receiver duo going forward.
They're going to be the boringest wide receiver duo.
Puka leads the league in receptions, and he's second in yards, only to Tyreek Hill. This man was a 5th-round pick, right? 5th round, I think. He had a terrible 40 time at the combine. He got dropped all the way down. This man is going to break all these rookie records. And Cooper Kupp came back, and right away was the Cooper Kupp we've seen from the last 3 years. I think they are the NFL's elite receiver duo for certainly the rest of this year, and I'll even say for the next 2-3 years. I don't see them slowing down. Cooper Kupp has 2 or 3 more.
Of anyone you could have said first, you think Puka Nacua. I don't want to disrespect the man,
100%. 100%. I have no doubts. That is it. Give me a reason why. Give me a reason to doubt that.
So, Will, I'm not going to doubt it. That was my choice as well. I'm going to go with somebody else, but I know I 100%.
That's your choice? You think
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are, by the numbers, they are the best duo. If you take what Puka Nacua has done so far and take the one game Cooper Kupp has played coming back, they're giving you 25 points a game. Keep in mind that this past week, they were targeted 11 and 12 times. 12 times for Cooper Kupp, 11 times for Puka Nacua. And this is the same Cooper Kupp we forgot, right? Who was the Triple Crown winner from last year, leading in touchdowns, receptions, yards, all of that, right? So
that was 2 years ago.
2
That's
years.
a long time.
No, 2 years ago. But then in 2022, he was on the same trajectory as he was previously prior to the injury. So I will agree, but I'm going to go in a different direction for my number 2. But yes, I definitely agree with that.
Okay, listen. I think they're good. The best offense in the league is Miami. Okay? Tyreek Hill is determined to get 2,000 yards this season. They have speed that is unmatched. Okay? Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And I don't even think we haven't even seen Jalen Waddle unleashed yet. Like,
right.
Jalen Waddle's season thus far has been pedestrian. But what Tyreek Hill is capable of doing and what Jalen Waddle is going to do going forward in this offense, I think they're going to set records. They already have the most yards by any team, I think, in 5 weeks or something like that. There's some crazy stat like that. I think the best receiver duo going forward is going to be Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. That offense is explosive, and it's only going to get better as we go forward, which is crazy to think.
Normally, I would agree with you, but I don't agree with you because Waddle is taking a step back this year. So all those yards you're talking about is really just Tyreek Hill. So
Yes, yes,
Waddle,
Right.
yes.
It's not a
we're not talking about
duo
best
yet.
receiver, we're talking about duo. So
Hey, listen,
with
duo,
that,
they are going to them together are going to have more yards than anybody else. I think
Then
so.
Cup and Nakua, I don't
I
think
think
so.
No,
so. I think
no.
their production will be
I
better.
think Cup and the Core are going to have a lot of empty yards this year for sure. So yeah, but if you have Nakua with all those yards and you'll have one touchdown, that doesn't make you a complete receiver because all you have is empty calories. That's
What?
why they lost, and that's why they lost.
Empty calories.
Yeah, it's empty
Puka
calories like garbage.
Nakua is a chocolate muffin, is what
Yeah,
Olu is saying.
no, not even chocolate. Don't disrespect
Puka
chocolate.
Nicola.
He's glazed. He's glazed donuts.
Glazed donut. Oh man. So he's
Sugar.
not he-
All sugar, no substance.
so he's
You
not
know,
a game changer. He's not a game
no,
breaker
he's
for you.
not. He's gonna have yards, but can you get in the end zone when the game matters? When
He
the game
will.
is on.
He's gonna have positive regression for
So
touchdown.
Olu, do you have
So
somebody else that we
mine
haven't
is
mentioned yet?
AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. They're the best. But
respect
moving
Okay.
forward, they're the absolute best. AJ Brown is AJ Brown. You know, he's always open, even when he's not open. Just throw the ball. He's gonna debo everybody and get the ball. And then you have Devontae Smith, who's also a number one receiver. So they're two tandems that work hand in hand. And when they can easily bail Jalen Hurts out of any trouble they want. So moving forward, and mind you, they're 5-0, and they're not even playing good football yet. They're still trying to find their identity and their groove. So once they hit, and that's the mark of a Super Bowl caliber team. When you're really not playing your group football yet, and you're undefeated, and you're not quite hitting your stride, and that's why I'm actually afraid for the 49ers because they're hitting all cylinders right now, and it's too early. They're picking way too early.
Peaked early, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
that's
I
something.
respect it.
And when
I
you
like
pick
them a lot.
early, it affects you. So the Eagles are not picking at all. They still find the strike, but once they peak and those receivers get going, oh my gosh, unstoppable. So my take is
Yeah.
I respect it. No,
Brown
I respect. I would accept that over the LA Rams. Personally, I would accept that.
The only
Guess
so
who's going
here's my only thing about that because talent, it's unquestioned, right? They're incredible. Devontae Smith, his short area quickness, how he's able to get open. The only thing is they rarely produce big games at the same time.
No, this is
Correct.
true.
They
That is
you
100%
rarely
true.
you I don't even
Yeah.
know if do they have a game where they both went over 100 yards going back to last year?
Devontae, but that's what makes them a 1-2 punch. 1-2 punch is not you punch at the same time. You got to hit them with the jab, 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 cross. That's
Yeah,
Hey, do that again.
1-2
How do you
punch
do that? Do that
happens in the
again.
same round, but the
and then
1-2
the
punch comes in the same round, Olu.
like
I need to see it in the same game. I need to please
the,
watch this on YouTube if you're on Spotify, just for that visual.
they'll go off in the same game. It's like what we're doing. It's gimmicky. Like we're going off of it. It's like yeah. It's when they have the 1-2 punch. I
Shed,
feel
who do
like
you have, man? Who do you have?
So look, Koopa, Cup, and Puka Nakua are gonna be number one, right? But I'm gonna give you a sleeper that you guys probably aren't looking at. I'm gonna go Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers. They're not
Yes.
really a sleepers.
yes,
They
Oh,
yes, 100%.
number wise,
Oh
I
God.
oh, right,
oh.
right, Olu.
absolutely. But
Yes.
yes, the
Oh
only thing
gosh.
that's gonna hold them back is Jimmy G. Because Jimmy G has problems
That's
throwing
the
the
biggest. That's the most important thing.
No. I'll counter and say that Jacoby Myers has given you 25, 30, 35 points fantasy. The only down week he had was when Jimmy G was out
Yeah.
and
Oh,
Aiden
okay.
Connor was in. That's
Yeah.
the only time he just gave you 6. But besides that, he's giving you 25, 32, 17. He's going to give you points. Like, this is a sneaky good combo. that
And,
people are
and
not.
another point to that is this is the only duo that both have 3 touchdowns each. Most of the
Mm.
other teams have one who has 5, and the other one. They both have 3 touchdowns. So
Okay.
I agree.
Yes, don't Matt. Don't mind the Raiders' offense, their defense. Don't look at all that. That's all gimmicky. Like, look at these two.
Yes, I agree.
So
I
you're
absolutely.
saying you have the audacity to say that you think they will be the best duo in the league over Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, over
Oh,
DK Metcalf
Yeah.
and Tyler Lockett,
Oh, for
over
sure, for
over
sure.
Yes.
Debo and
Yes.
Brandon Ayuk,
Yeah,
over
yeah.
Yes.
even
Yes.
even Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, I would put them above Devontae and
Oh
Jacoby.
no,
I
stop
really
it!
would.
Stop. No, don't do
Going
that.
forward,
You know what it
yes.
is,
Yes.
guys?
We're not.
You guys don't respect Jacoby Myers. I think
over.
that's what the problem is. But
I
the problem,
don't.
I mean,
How
you don't
about
respect because
how about this,
obviously
Olu, over Tank Dell and Nico Collins? How about that, Olu?
Tank Dell is hurt, so that's why I didn't go with them.
Oh, that's
Once
the
you
only
play to
reason.
Olu's fanhood,
Okay, so I had 3 picks, right? Mine was what's it called? AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jacoby Myers, and Devontae Adams, and Nico Collins and Tank Dell. They're
Oh
my third
no.
picks. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Over
Look
Mike
at okay.
Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Because Chris Godwin has not been produced this year so far. He doesn't have that much chemistry with Baker as Mike Evans has yet. So and it's Baker.
well, anyways, we'll see who it is. I think hold us to it, guys. Keep receipts. I think Miami's duo of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Will thinks the LA Rams duo of Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
Olu says the Philadelphia Eagles of AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. And our sleeper pick, Shed, thinks the Raiders,
And
Devontae
the
Adams.
bonus pick.
Oh
I'm
man.
telling you, the numbers say it. The numbers say it.
All right,
The
guys, let's
bonus
move
pick.
on to our
You gotta
final
say the
segment,
bonus
our
pick.
single
Yeah.
game mock. We got to wrap it up here. It's getting
The bonus pick
long,
is
but it's good. It's good. Hopefully, it's entertaining. We like to finish off every episode with a single game mock. It's our 2-round snake draft for the upcoming Thursday night game. And every week we do our 2 rounds. We don't draft quarterbacks. We draft just wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends. Last week, who played last week, guys? It was the Bears and the
Washington.
Commanders.
Yeah.
And we all roasted Olu for drafting DJ Moore.
DJ Moore.
And last week's scores, Shed got 26.8 points. Olu had 65.2, riding DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. Will had
Gosh.
13.6, and there I am again, pulling up the rear with 10.8 points. Thank you, Terry McLaurin. I really appreciate all your contributions.
Yeah.
I can afford to take next week off. I'll get it done.
So total scores are Olu is in first place with 130.1. Shed is in second place with 106.1. Sounds like a radio station. Will is in third place with 91.4. And my score is irrelevant. My score is
67.
not important. 67.3 because I've gotten 10 points. I got 5 points 2 weeks ago.
Matt, do you realize, if you look at the stats, you realize that Olu almost outscored your entire season just by last week?
I know.
It's
You're
not my fault.
Olu got 65 points last week. You have 67 total.
It's not my fault. I drafted Terry McLaurin because he was the best player. And then I think at the end of the draft, I took
You took Roshan.
Deshaun Johnson, and he went out in the first drive with a concussion. It's not my. And the week before that, I lost Luke Musgrave in the first drive. Like, it's not my fault. Anyways, let's go. Shed's gonna draft
Okay.
first, then Olu, then Will, then
What
myself.
game?
Then
We got to
split.
tell them what game, Matt. What game is it?
It's the Denver Broncos versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
And it's in Arrowhead,
Denver
isn't it?
Oh, let's
What's that?
go.
It's at Arrowhead, isn't it?
It's at Arrowhead. Yeah, it's in Kansas City. Yep.
So I'm maybe hoping that we can get a little Swifty love this is Sunday as well here. She can come back here, give me some good luck. So with that said, I'm taking my man Travis Kelce. Come on.
Trav.
What do they call
Easiest
him?
pick. Killer Trav.
Kelce. Yeah, there you go.
Easiest pick ever.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Let's do this. I'm going to go with Javante Williams.
Is he gonna play? Is he healthy?
Yeah, I think it's
Olu always drafts these guys that were like DeAndre Swift. He's not gonna play. He's not healthy, and then he balls out. DJ Moore, what a reach! That was terrible. Then he balls out. Watch what happens. Watch what happens with Javante Williams this week.
All right. I got the third pick, so I have to honor what I said before in the matchups to exploit. I'm gonna take Isaiah Pacheco with the third pick of this Thursday night game.
so you basically
He's about to go off.
Like, this is the pick that, like, I knew when we prepared for this that this is exactly what I was going to be faced with. And I have Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton in a dynasty league, and I don't play either of them.
No,
Like,
it's brutal.
that's my problem. Like, I've had Kadarius Toney. Oh, gosh, I can't stand, like, ugh. So my
That's your
first pick,
fourth.
I will take Jerry Jeudy. I'm a big Jerry Jeudy fan, but it's been bad, y'all. It's just been
It's
bad.
bad. Yeah.
And then for my next pick, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, guys. My mind is telling me no. My mind is telling me Cortland Sutton, but I am not going to do it. And this is why I keep losing in our single game mock. And I'm gonna go on a limb and I'm gonna take Rashee Rice for my next pick.
I wanted him.
I think they're starting to manufacture touches for him.
Gosh, I wanted him. Oh, this is rough now. This is rough looking at who's left. Gosh, because the
Olu
Chiefs,
said at pick number 3 last week.
I know. The Chiefs' defense is good. That's the thing. Their defense is good. So the Broncos are atrocious. And so I'm just looking for upside here, pure upside. I'm taking another Chiefs player, Kadarius Toney. Regrettingly, but that's what I got to do.
Yeah.
Give me Toney
will
right
get-
here.
You will get one catch for -2 yards
I might.
and a pulled hamstring.
That is extremely likely.
And possibly a mixtape at halftime.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
I'm gonna go with McLaughlin.
Oh, that's my guy. Yes, that's a good.
You're taking
That's a
two Denver running backs, Olu.
We laugh
Okay.
at Olu's picks every single time, and
Well,
then he
who-
falls
well,
out.
Yeah.
Jaleel. You're taking Jaleel. That
That
was
was my guy Olu because he's
Oh.
nominated Rookie of the Week. He's gotten you 22 and 19 fantasy points the last 2 weeks. I mean, the guy been
Exactly.
producing.
That's how I know he balls out because
Yes.
he's balled out in my
We
fantasy.
did that without Javante Williams, and Javante Williams is back now.
Right, but he has a different skill set. Devontae is a runner. He's a pass catcher.
Okay, now. Okay,
right.
now.
last pick.
Jed,
Jeez.
I think it's obvious.
Should be. There's only one
Take
guy.
Take the third Denver running back, Shed.
Samaje.
Let me go with Sky Moore.
Over Sutton.
Wow.
Over Cortland Sutton.
Oh, Cortland Sutton's out there? Okay, yeah. Let me guess Cortland Sutton. Sorry.
Sutton.
He's out there. Yes.
I mean, I would not have been shocked. I would not have been shocked. Sutton has been bad.
We're gonna take. We're gonna leave the only first round running back off the board. No Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Okay.
No.
Anyways, so, a little
That's
recap
the guy.
for you.
That's the guy.
Shed's team. Shed has Travis Kelce and Cortland Sutton. Olu has Javante Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin. Will has Isaiah Pacheco and Kadarius Toney, and I have Jerry Jeudy and Rashee Rice. Guys, how do you feel about your team now that you're seeing it?
Great. I feel great because I'm playing house money right now.
You are. Olu can take risks. I'm so nervous about Kadarius Toney because I'm going to get anywhere from -2 to 20 points. All of that is within range here.
So I'm just hoping Travis Kelce carries me. And even though, regardless of how Sutton produces, gives me about 25, 30 points to take me to victory. That's all I'm looking for.
I don't think it matters how I feel about my team because I will end up with between 5 and 12 points. So it doesn't matter.
Every time.
Here's a tip to our listeners: whoever I play, do not play him in fantasy football this
Start
week.
then.
Don't do it, because one will leave the game before halftime and the other will underperform. But anyways, that's our episode for the week. Thanks for listening. We had a lot of fun. We hope you enjoyed it, but most importantly, we hope we helped you with your fantasy lineups. As we continue to go forward, we're looking more into the bye weeks.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more of the Four Wide Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Matt, Shed, Olu, and Will. See you later.
Peace.